The city is planning more growth for its summer learning programs, expected to reach more than 14,000 Boston students. Known as the Fifth Quarter of Learning, the programs were started 10 years ago, supported by public and private funding. To tell us about this year's programs are the Executive Director of Expanded Learning Time for the Boston Public Schools, Jan Manfredi, and the Director of Summer Learning at Boston After School and Beyond, Will Cardwell. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will start with Jan Manfredi. When I grew up and I was in high school, summer school was almost a dirty word. How has it changed since then?
Well, I think hopefully we've made it more engaging. So in our partnership with Boston After School and Beyond and through the work we did with the Wallace Foundation, we really tried to look at a balance of enrichment and academic work for students. So yes, summer used to be almost seen as a punishment. I have to go to school during the summer. We're trying to flip that a little bit and have students feel like this is an added opportunity for them, and they may have to do some academic work, but they can also engage in some enrichment activities.
Well, why have that combination?
Well, I mean, it's really important, I think, for some students to just kind of have that realignment with school. So for some learners, if they've not been successful during the school year, it could be for, a number of reasons, and sometimes it's just kind of genuine disengagement with school. And so by having enrichment and education opportunities paired, as well as by utilizing Boston Public School teachers as the actual facilitators of the education, I see this helping young people kind of realign their expectations, as well as their relationship with educators and schools. And kind of the other point to it as well is that we're also, as a city, trying to address the opportunity gap that young people face. So, some of their more affluent peers might have the ability to go to the zoo and to go to water parks and things of that sort, go to camps, without that being kind of much of a question that's part of their summer. And, for a lot of our young people, they don't have the access to that. And so summer learning provides them with that access, as well as with some assistance in terms of kind of some remediation, as well as just some reintegration of skills that they might have lost, or maybe skills that they could just sharpen while they're also able to have fun.
Jen, the announcement of this year's programs did take place at the zoo, if I'm not mistaken.
It did.
So
yeah.
I know it's picturesque, but I'm sure there's more to it than that, right?
Sure. They run one of our most highly sought after programs. The zoo is always full. They do a lot of work around biology. They do a lot of work with the animals in the zoo and having students figure out their habitat. We have our, as Will said, our Boston science teachers who will be working with them at the zoo. And so they'll create lessons that incorporate a lot of the activities that you might see as just a guest at the zoo, but go deeper around what's the history behind the particular animal, where do they live, how is their environment impacted by climate change or other issues. So they'll kind of go deep into some of the opportunities at the zoo, which are very unique, that we don't get to see every day.
Turning to Will, as far as the other activities, you get things going on like sailing and dance. It sounds like recreation, but what's going on there that contributes to learning?
Yeah, I mean, if we take, for instance, Thompson Island per se, they have BPS teachers who meet up with them, travel to the island every day with students, and the way that they kind of do their education, because they're also part of a STEM initiative in the city, is they'll take the science aspects that they're doing and they'll relate it back to their high ropes coursing and some of their health and wellness focused programming. So that way it's so tightly integrated that it doesn't feel like, to kids, that they're like in school all over again. So some of our programs who have like these more enrichment and fun focused opportunities, the way that we work with them during the year is to help them integrate that math and ELA piece into the enrichment piece, so that way for young people it feels like one seamless experience. And using the zoo in Thompson Island, Hale Reservation as examples of, when you go and you see kids learning, you can also tell that they don't even realize that they're learning, and for them it doesn't even feel like they're in a classroom, but they're doing the same thing that they were doing a couple of months ago in their home schools.
This is BNN News, and we're talking with Jan Manfredi from the Boston Public Schools and Will Cardwell from Boston After School and Beyond. Jan, there is more attention this year, I guess, to social and emotional learning. Explain the reason for that.
So a number of years ago, I think 3 now, the district established an Office of Social Emotional Learning and Wellness. We know our students need wraparound services like counseling or counseling around nutrition or daily, health activities. So we're trying to marry that in with the opportunities that are available. To Will's point, these students are getting outdoors. They're being able to walk around places like Thompson Island and getting exercise. They might do a project-based learning where they go in depth and study a particular issue. One example I can think of is that last year one of the programs did kind of a neighborhood deep data analysis around asthma and the causes and effects of asthma in their neighborhood. So it was really close for kids to understand because they lived and breathed that. Most kids had relatives who suffered from asthma. And then they learned the impact of what those are and then also the preventative side. What can you do to decrease the incidences of asthma attacks? So trying to educate them also about their health and well-being is going to be really important for them as they move through school and into life.
Well, there was a report, I think it was last year, that there were a lot of high school students who were off track academically for graduating. Do these summer programs respond to that in some way?
Yeah, we have some really great examples of high school focused and led programs, some by high schools, some by community agencies that actually serve high school age students. So Sociedad Latina and Freedom House are both programs that serve high school age students. Some students may be slightly off course for graduating on time. Some students may not, but might need some social emotional, some career and college readiness skill development, as they may not have like a particular path or kind of place that they want to go when they graduate. And then, Jeremiah E. Burke High School kind of has a really great program that's focused on students who are near and close to graduating, but may not have the number of credits they need in order to succeed. And kind of what they've identified is it's not just about providing students with the space to take and retake courses, but they also provide mentoring, health and wellness, as well as opportunities for those students to mentor some of their rising 8th and 9th grade students. So that way, one, those kids know someone in the school when they come in, and two, it's kind of to help them kind of understand the things to do and the things not to do if they want to graduate on time.
Yeah. And finally, Jan, anything that shows these programs are effective?
Yes, we actually partnered initially in 2013 with the Wallace Foundation, and we did a significant 5-year study around these programs. We had very few to start. We had between 10 and 15 programs initially the first year, and then we've added with Boston After School and Beyond programmatically opportunities every year. So we have about over 100, I think 100.
About 160 programs in total throughout the city.
That participate. So in the Wallace study, we looked at attendance for students who came to the summer programs. If it exceeded 80%, there was documented data that showed that they did not suffer the summer learning loss that takes place for kids who get no opportunity in the summer. So our study, and if you come 2 years in a row, there's almost an increase in performance in the next school year. So given the combination of enrichment and academics, the project-based learning that takes place where kids are doing projects that they relate to, when they return in September, the teachers can see a significant difference for kids who've come in through the summer learning programs.
I know you're nearing the end of the enrollment period, but if people have a question, there's an email at least where they can find out more?
We can ask you to send an email to summerlearning@bostonpublicschools.org, and we'll respond within 24 hours.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Jan Manfredi and Will Cardwell.